Descriptive elements, part 2.
It's kind of the basic model, and you see it on the paper right there. And so you're going to want to budget your time accordingly. Probably the hardest part will be the first step. For most people it is. The first step of finding the possible topics. Let's kind of do one together so you get the feeling for it. What would be something that you could describe in a speech? Something that might be interesting to talk about, to explain or tell someone the details of. Joey?
Swimming.
All right, so you could describe swimming, the experience of swimming. Okay, I like that. So let's say that you wanted to describe the experience of swimming. Immediately, your first task would be think of 3 aspects of swimming, or possible topics, or ideas pertaining to it. What would be some? Yeah.
Health benefits.
All right, the benefits of swimming. What else might be?
Learning.
Learning to swim. All right, what else?
You eat a lot of food afterwards.
Oh, the effects of swimming, huh? Make you hungry? Effect? What else? Yes?
How much fun it is.
Okay, the fun of swimming. The
Experience.
That's a little bit vague.
Like it's a lifelong experience kind of thing.
The skill of it, the value of, okay, yeah, the value of having the ability. Yeah, I like that one.
The possibility of drowning.
Yeah, I like that one. Dangers. Dangers is really interesting because it can be a topic for almost any subject, right? Dangers or maybe problems. And maybe it's not just limited to drowning, but there's all sorts of other things like hypothermia or chlorine poisoning or athlete's foot from the locker room or stingrays in the ocean. Yeah, lots of possibilities. All right, then when you choose your topics, you want to choose some that will kind of support your goal. For example, if you wanted to portray swimming as kind of a great thing that everybody should do, what topics might be good? Yeah.
The benefits, the learning, the effects, the fun, and the value.
Okay, yeah, so probably the benefits, the fun, the value, the effects, that would be. If you wanted to portray swimming as a hard and potentially unrewarding thing, how might you choose? Dangers, what else?
Effects.
Effects could be, and the learning, it's hard, you know, you can struggle and sputter in the process. So you can kind of portray a thing a certain way by the topics you choose, right? And that's okay. That's what people in the world do, is they'll choose some things to tell you about something, but they won't necessarily choose everything to tell you about that. You've probably noticed, how many of you read news now and then? You've probably noticed that the news people will often do this. They'll tell you certain things about, say, a healthcare plan, and they might just not mention other things about that, right? And so that is kind of the way things can be shaped or shaded. Let's try another one. That was very good. What's another subject maybe you're even thinking about you might describe this? Stevie?
Economics.
Economics. That's a big one. Tell you what, let you think that one through as your dad. Let's choose one that maybe is a little simpler we can all talk about here. Michaela?
Music.
All right, music. So you're going to describe music. And so there's lots of topics there, aren't there? What would be some aspects of topics pertaining to or things relating to music? Yeah.
Instruments.
All right. Instruments. And Kevin? Genres. Or styles of music, if you will. Some people may be not familiar with that word. Styles? Yes.
Learning to play music.
Sure. Learning to play music.
Performing music.
Performing music. Good. Listening. Gianna? Say again?
Theory.
Theory. Music theory. Sure. So now, let's say you don't... you got some more, Elias?
Effects.
Effects of music. All right. And did you have another one, Michaela?
Yeah, writing music.
Writing. Okay. Theory. We could put that maybe together. Composition. All right, a lot of different topics. Now, maybe you don't really want to portray music in a certain way. You're not trying to skew things. Another way to combine your topics is say, well, which ones would logically go together, right? Which ones would kind of logically fit here? Stevie?
Instruments.
Instruments.
Styles.
Okay, styles and...
Let's see. Theory.
Theory?
At the end.
Yeah, maybe. I'm thinking maybe learning might go, because you got instruments and learning, right? Styles you'd learn, like if you were learning classical guitar, it'd be different than learning, say, country guitar. Lisa?
Learning and theory.
Okay, you'd put learning and theory together, and maybe performing with that, since usually people who have to learn to play usually get a chance to perform, whether they like it or not. Well, how would you see it? Say again?
Effects and listen.
All right, effects and listen, and could you throw in one more with that? Maybe the genres or styles? Because different music could affect you in different ways. Yeah. Stevie?
The effects and the performing.
Okay, good. So there's lots of ways you could combine it, right? So the idea is you kind of think it through, and then you look at your possible topics, and your goal is to choose 3, right? Because we're going for the 3-topic speech here. All right, excellent. Let's do just one more so you really get the feeling for this. Anyone got something else they might be inclined to describe? Yeah.
Going to a football game.
Football games. All right. Football games. This would be primarily attending, watching, right? All right. Who's been to a football game? Most people. Okay. If you haven't, you're going to have to kind of imagine this, I suppose. I haven't been to one for a long, long time, but what would be some aspects of attending a football game? Connor?
TV timeouts.
TV timeouts? Really? So, like, they take a timeout for the commercial and then you just sit there and wait?
Yeah, the guy comes on the field and you have to wait and wait and wait. And then finally he walks off.
You see? That big box? The ultimate evil? It affects even the real world sometimes, huh? Fascinating. Joey?
Dangerous.
Dangerous, okay. I don't know what those would be, but you probably do.
Not knowing anything about what they're doing.
Ignorance is bliss at a football game, right? Or confusion, one or the other.
Energy.
The energy you get from being there, the hype up, cheer, right?
The awesome plays.
Okay, the plays, the strategy, the skill of the players. Plays, skill. All right, one more.
Food.
The food. All right, I like that. So, if you were gonna portray football positively, you might choose what topics? Stevie? Energy.
Play.
Plays.
Food.
Okay. If you were going to portray football more on the negative side, you might say
TV timeouts.
TV timeouts, dangers, and ignorance. All right. Or you could actually put food into that category as well, depending on your dietary preferences, huh? All right, so there's lots of different ways to combine. But that's your first step, is really to choose your subject and then list some possible topics. Look for the 3 that'll fit together either logically or for your purpose, and then you'll know what you're going to do. Now, to get the details about things, that's when you need to do more thinking. All right, you kind of have to think of the details. Last class, we talked a little bit about how to think. Right? What's the trick of getting stuff out of your brain? Anyone remember? Joey?
Asking questions.
Asking questions, right? So, in this type, rather than having the narrative sequence where the questions are all organized by category, you'd kind of have general questions that would help you get the details for a paragraph. So, what are the big 6 questions? Should be on the tip of your brain, tip of your tongue. Yes?
When, while, where.
No, that would be the clausal openers from our writing program. A plus for that. A couple of them overlap, but when would be one of them. We're also looking, though, for the big question words. Lies?
How.
How? What else? Yeah.
Why.
Why? Who?
What?
What? And one last one. Where? Good. Those are the big 6 questions. Who, what, where, why, when, how. And if you're ever staring at a blank piece of paper, whether you're trying to write an essay or design a speech or do an impromptu, I know a couple of you had experience with that recently, creating an impromptu speech. If you run those questions, you go, who, what, where, why, when, how. Who, what, where, why, when, how. You just kind of run those questions, you'll immediately start to get ideas. So for example, let's say one of your topics is food at a baseball game, right? So you immediately say, okay, when do you get food at a baseball game? How do you get the food at a baseball game? Why do you get food at a baseball game? Or were we talking about football? We were talking about football, weren't we? Well, same difference, right? Who eats the food at the game? What are you likely to get when you're at the game? Where do you get it? Where do you eat it? Where do you have to go after you eat it? Right? There's lots of options there. So, as soon as you start asking questions, you start to get some ideas. Agreed? Now, those are the basic kind of simple questions that you would ask, in a reporter style. But you also want to add a little depth, add a little more, especially at the upper level. You would like to be able to comment with greater meaning on than just the facts. So there's another set of questions we might call kind of the more critical thinking questions, the ones that would help you evaluate things. So for example, what is the best type of food to get at the game? What is the worst type of food to get at the game? What is the value of having the food there at the game? How does it help you or not help you? Are there any problems with food at the game? And ultimately, what does it represent? What's its meaning? Right? What is the essential, the nature of food at baseball games? Right? Pleasure, of course. All right, so however you want to go with that. One person might say pleasure, another person might say gluttony. Who knows? But the idea then is that you can ask a little bit harder questions. So first layer, you get facts. Second layer, you get some more in-depth perceptive ideas. And if you ever don't know what to say about something, just ask yourself some more questions. Will every question work for every topic? No. Would some questions work more than once? Sure. What can you do there? What else can you do there? What else can you do there? What else can you do there? So you might be able to say many things from one question. And if you say, well, I don't know, then just go to another question and see what comes up. This method of thinking, of extracting ideas from your brain and organizing them with questions, will not only help you in speech, but it'll help you with everything you ever have to do in communication or organizing of thoughts, either on paper or in words verbally. So that is kind of the model we have there. And I'm curious, is anyone starting to spin with a few ideas what they might like to do for